Jeff's Superscript is brought to you by Black Cat Comics and Collectibles, in my opinion, the best comic shop and clubhouse on the internet. Follow them at Black Cat Burbank on Instagram and join their claim sales on Tuesdays for new books and Fridays for back issues. And don't forget to ask about joining their Stray Cats Club for special perks.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today's video is going to take a look at all the books that are hitting Final Order Cutoff this upcoming weekend. That is this Sunday for DC Books, February the 21st, and Monday, February 22nd, for everything else. Now I want to mention that I've been making these FOC videos because I had a little bit of extra time and I really like information on Final Order Cutoff. I think it's really valuable to me to know what's coming out in advance of FOC so that I can make sure to reserve my books at my LCS so that I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm going to be able to find them or have them on New Comic Book Day. That being said, I'm about to not have that extra time. So it's going to become increasingly more difficult for me to make these videos. If you love these videos and they have an extreme amount of value to you, please let me know that down in the comments. Because if that's the case, I will do everything I can to try to squeeze in some time to continue to make these videos every week. If you're like, Jeff, I like your videos, I like you, I like the information, but I can get my Final Order Cutoff information someplace else, it's okay. Let me know that in the comments as well, because then I will probably not do these anymore because, like I said, I'm about to not have the time to do them. They do take a decent amount of time with all the editing and all of that. So let me know what your thoughts are on all of this. As well, man, if you've been watching these FOC videos, please hit that like button right now. If you've been watching my videos in general, please hit the like button right now. I feel like I get less than 10% likes on my views. That means that either some of you are watching my videos 10 times, which, wow, thanks for that, and hitting the like button once, because that's as many times as you can hit it. Or you're watching these videos, you're not hitting the like button. Hit the like button. Show people out in YouTube world that they should check me out. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, enough begging and pleading. Let's get into the topic of this video, which is this upcoming weekend's Final Order Cutoff. Some of the descriptions I'll read, some of them I won't. The first one I want to point out to you, which I am going to read to you, is Ultra Mega. This is from Image Comics. The description reads, "A cosmic plague has spread, transforming everyday people into violent, monstrous kaiju. Only the Ultra Mega, 3 individuals imbued with incredible powers, hold the line against this madness. Their battles level cities and leave untold horror in their wake. Now the final reckoning approaches for the Ultra Mega, but is this a war they can even win? Fight monsters and stand with humanity in this new Skybound original from the greatest artist of his generation, James Harren, and Eisner Award-winning colorist, Dave Stewart. Each issue is extra-sized and extra expensive, with a 60-page debut that can barely contain its giant heroes, creatures, and devastation." This is the register pitch, the short version, which is the high-impact adventure of Extremity, but with the kaiju-esque monster action scenes of Pacific Rim. I'm not a big kaiju story, guys, but I know that some people just love them. If you fall into that category, this is a book you might want to consider checking out. The next book I'm going to mention to you is Harley Quinn #1. This is from DC Comics, and one thing I will mention about DC is that I might be a whole week ahead on my Final Order Cutoff dates with DC. I'm still trying to find a good source for reliable Final Order Cutoff dates for DC. They shift them around a lot, so I'd rather be well in advance than too late, so I'm telling you about this now. The book is Harley Quinn #1. I mentioned that already. Here's the description. It says, "You better read this closely because we've got a red-hot relaunch on our hands here. And I should know. Harley Quinn here to let everyone know that I got a brand new monthly series here with a brand new status quo. I'm coming back to Gotham City to make up for the sins of my past, and help the city recover from the Joker War. But there's no welcoming committee waiting for me, your favorite maid of mischief. And between you and me, some real creeps are working to keep the city broken. We can't let that happen, can we? Rising star writer Stephanie Phillips, my new partner in crime, takes me into a bold new era with her partner in artistic crime, Riley Rossmo, who I gotta say designed a real nice new costume for me. You're not gonna want to miss this one, folks. So we had the Harley Quinn series that ended at 75 just a few months ago. Then we had Future State Harley Quinn. Now we've got a brand new Harley Quinn title. If you're a Harley Quinn fan, you're stoked, and I hope that this delivers for you. From a spec potential, maybe you want to pick this up because of her new costume. I don't know how well, when she did her last costume change, that the spec potential on that is, but if you're a fan of Harley Quinn and you want to check out her new costume, this might be a book for you. The next book I'm going to mention to you is a limited series. It is Black Knight Curse of the Ebony Blade. It's a 5-part limited series from Marvel Comics. I'm not going to read the description to you. The Black Knight is a character that is, the description really doesn't have anything in it that's like, this is why you should get this. He's just a kind of I guess he's a cool character that I know very little about because I had barely even ever heard of him until they had announced that he was going to be in an MCU movie as an Avenger. And so now we're seeing a lot of him in the comic books. So if you're excited about his appearance in the MCU, you might want to pick up this limited series. It's a low commitment. Maybe it'll be cool. Or if you just want to even learn more about the character. There's also a handful of Momoko covers that come out this week, and there is one for this book as well. So if you really like your Momokos, this might be a good week for you, and you might want to pre-order it in advance. Speaking of cover picks, which I'll get to in just a moment, we have a new book coming out this week, which is King in Black, Spider-Man #1 from Marvel Comics. I thought the only Spider-Man tie-in was going to be the symbiote Spider-Man for King in Black, but no, we're doing this one as well. The description, all it says is all webbed up with no place to go. This could be interesting to me because it seems like Spider-Man has been a little bit central in the King in Black story, as much as Eddie Brock asked Spider-Man to watch over Dylan. And he's been taking that job very, very seriously. So I think Dylan is central to the King in Black story. So I think Spider-Man's going to be right there for it. So I think a Spider-Man, as a symbiote Spider-Man is back in time, a current time Spider-Man tie-in to King in Black, I think could be very interesting and something I'm definitely going to be checking out. Also, I mentioned the cover pick. I usually don't show you covers unless I have the cover art for it. Sometimes they list variants, but I don't show them to you unless there's an actual image because I don't find it relevant. But unless there's also additional information like this. Now there's this Vincenzi variant that they refer to, but what I'm interested in is this Liefeld Deadpool 30th variant. Deadpool is having his 30th anniversary as a character, and there's going to be 2 of these anniversary covers coming out this week. There may be more in the future. Deadpool is one of those characters that people are just like hot for. They're hot for specking on it. Right now people are going nuts over X-Force #1, with the Deadpool card in it. So it might be worth considering pre-ordering this comic book just because the Deadpool spec in the world is strong, and so you might not want to miss out on it. The next book I want to mention to you is Star Wars High Republic #1, the 4th print. I have no cover art for it, but this is once again a little bit of a spec thing. The first print did so well, the second print did so well. I am not aware of the third print, and maybe it hasn't even come out yet, but people are hot for later prints, especially as the print count gets lower and lower and lower. You might, if you're specking hard on this High Republic, you definitely are going to want to pre-order this 4th print. The next book I'm going to mention to you is Sword #4. I only mention it because I like it, and I am going to be pulling it. It is on my FOC, so I wanted to mention it to you. I also am going to be pulling Thor #13, which hits FOC this weekend. In my opinion, Thor is a top 3 comic book right now. It's so cool. I'm so into it. You should be checking it out. I'll tell you that. If you haven't been checking it out, you might wait till issue number 15. That would be a good time to jump on if you haven't been jumping on already. But I don't think there's a bad time, even mid-story arc, as they are right now. Something you might want to consider. The next book I want to mention to you is a limited series of 5. It's Trials of Ultraman from Marvel Comics. I'm not going to read the description once again because I don't think there's anything in there that like grabbed me to tell me you need to buy this book. Basically, it seems like Marvel is kind of committed to trying to make Ultraman work, which makes sense. They probably purchased the license and they're not going to, try one thing and give up on it. They're going to try to get it out there and try to help it find an audience. And this is just more Ultraman. To me, Ultraman is kind of throwback camp. But similarly, the same way I don't necessarily gravitate towards kaiju, I don't gravitate toward Ultraman in a similar way. However, I know that there are people that love this kind of stuff. And if you're one of those, then I wanted to make sure that you knew that there was this new limited Ultraman series coming out and hitting FOC this upcoming weekend. And there's another Momoko for this one. And I like this Momoko. This is, I think, some of what Momoko does best. I think it looks really great. So might be a Momoko you consider checking out. Another book I wanted to mention to you is X-Force number 18. Not because of this A cover, but because of this variant. Yes, it's another Liefeld Deadpool 30th anniversary variant. So that's the second one. I mentioned earlier there were 2. This is the second one. So you might consider ordering this pre-FOC so that you're guaranteed a copy of it if you're a big Deadpool fan or if you are just interested in some Deadpool spec. The next book I'm going to mention to you is Jim Henson's Storyteller Tricksters number 1. This A cover is another Momoko this week. Like I said, there is a handful of them. Here's the description. I'm going to read the description. It says, the storyteller and his faithful dog take shelter one night from a storm when the dog becomes scared of a large spider who is also occupying the shelter. Now discover the story of Anansi, the spider god, and his quest to free all stories from his father, the sky god Naemi. But when Anansi becomes the keeper of all stories, he hoards them until his son confronts him to free the knowledge that could change the world. Jonathan Rivera and Jade Zhang begin the next Jim Henson-inspired epic limited series here, with a different acclaimed creative team on each issue. I like fantasy. I'll admit it. I do like fantasy. And I also like Jim Henson and their tone of fantasy specifically. So if you like fantasy as well, and if you like Jim Henson's, tone and storytelling capabilities, this might be a book that you consider checking out this week. Another book that comes out this week that's a personal choice is Origins number 5 of 6. I've been enjoying it. It's on FOC this week. It's on my pull. I mentioned it to you because I've been a regular supporter of it, so I will continue to by mentioning it in this video. The next book I'm going to mention to you is The Bequest. This is from Aftershock Comics. Here's the description. Welcome to the high fantasy world of Tangia, a land where wizards and warriors battle dragons in dark, dank dungeons, where thieves pillage ancient ruins and priests answer the audible words of their great gods. Welcome to Chicago, Illinois, where the magical items from Tangia are being traded on the black market and are messing everything up. Now a group of Tangia adventurers must go undercover in our modern world to stop artifacts and monsters from falling into the wrong hands. But how will they fare in a world without wizards and warriors? A world without heroes? From Tim Seeley and Freddie E. Williams comes Bequest, a real-world fantasy tale. Well, as I mentioned previously, I like fantasy stories, but I also like kind of odd fish-out-of-water stories, and this is one of those. I think it's going to be kind of interesting when we think of these characters from a world that we only imagine in fiction come into the world of nonfiction of sorts, I think it could be a fun fish-out-of-water story, and it also sounds like it could have some action, adventure, all the stuff that we look for from stories as well. Something that you might want to consider checking out this week. Another book that comes out, hits FOC this week, is Erratic, number 4. This is number 4 of 5. I've been saying since the beginning, I am pleasantly impressed with Erratic. I don't think I'm the target audience, but I am really enjoying it. I really think it has a future. Even though this is issue 4 or 5, you might think that you missed the boat on it if you haven't been checking it out, but I think you could probably go back and find the first 3 issues without too much pain, and I think it's worth it. I think this title has a future. I've really been enjoying it, and I'm really glad that I jumped on board early and that I'm going to end up having the whole series when it's all said and done. I like it. Another book that this is just kind of a flyer for me is Hollow Heart number 2. I got picked up number 1 because it sounded interesting. I haven't read it yet, but issue number 2 is hitting FOC. If you picked up issue number 1 and you liked it, you might want to know that to let your comic book store pull that for you for the next one that comes out. This next book I'm going to mention to you is Maria Lovett's Eros Psyche from Ablaze. It says, from the artist of the best-selling Faithless series comes Eros Psyche. La Rosa's female boarding school is paradise for young girls, but only if you follow the rules. Because if you disobey them, you can end up expelled, or even worse, dead. Sarah and Silgi are 2 students learning the rules of the school, which includes classes by day and the casting of curses and spells by night. A love develops between the 2, which is tender, but threatens to break under the weight of the dark secret society within La Rosa. Acclaimed creator Maria Lovett brings you a surreal, bewitching tale of love, magic, and tragedy in Eros Psyche. Well, this one, these types of kind of romance, kind of faithless, kind of sexy titles aren't the ones I gravitate toward. More power to you if you do. They're just not necessarily for me. That's not what I'm most interested in comic books. But this one sounds most interesting. As I mentioned, I like fantasies. It's got some fantasy, some kind of witchy elements to it. It's like I said, it's not for me, but I'm interested. And if somebody told me, oh, Jeff, wow, no, it's really good, you should check it out, I would. As opposed to something like, if somebody's like, oh, with Faithless, for example, so it was like, oh, Jeff, it's really good, I'd be like, okay, I'm okay, thanks. This one I might consider checking out, so it might be one you might want to consider checking out as well. And finally, the last book I'm going to mention to you this week is Radiant Black number 2 hits FOC this weekend. The description says, yesterday, Nathan found an alien artifact that turned him into a superhero. Today, his dad says he has to get a job, so driving for rideshare company driver it is. Oh, and there's also someone else out there robbing banks with powers like his. That's probably important. Well, so I read issue number 1. It was fine. It was okay. It wasn't great. It didn't blow me away. I thought it was fine. I wasn't sure if I was even going to continue with this. I probably wasn't going to. But then I saw this B cover. And I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to pick up issue number 2. I'm going to pick up the B cover because it's the first cover appearance of this, other person like our main character. Our main character has like white stripes. This guy has red stripes. I'll get it. I'll have it just in case anything ever happens with Radiant Black in the future. I'll have, the first 2 issues and I'll have the first cover appearance of this, what appears to be bad guy. And I'll read issue number 2, and if it's great, if it really kind of impresses me more than issue number 1, then maybe I'll stick with it. But if it doesn't, then I'll most likely be done with Radiant Black. But I wanted to put it on your radar because if you have something you want to spec on, this B cover might be something that you consider ordering in advance with the FOC date coming up. All right, so that's all the books that I want to mention to you this week that are hitting final order cutoff this weekend. Let me know down in the comments if there are any of these books you're like, Jeff, I'm so glad you mentioned that because now I'm going to run out to my FOC and make sure that I have that pre-ordered. And as I said in the beginning of the video, please let me know if you're interested, like really interested in me continuing making these videos, or if you want to let me off the hook. Because like I said, I might not be able to continue them, but I will for you guys if you want them bad enough, so let me know. Again, hit that like button, people. If you are listening to the sound of my voice right now, hit the pause button, then hit the like button. Good job. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you haven't already subscribed, hitting the subscribe guy right here is a fun way to do it. And of course, make sure to hit the notification bell so you're informed when I post new videos. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate you tuning in and checking out this video. I'll see you in the next one.